Alright, well, after I put fuel in this thing, and that wasn't the case, I kind of was on a hiatus for a couple weeks, debating on if I should pull fuel pump or what. I didn't know what to do. Well, my buddy and I were screwing around with the car, and it fired. So one thing led to another, and I ended up pulling it on the rack. Well, pulling the front bumper off of it so I could get it on the rack. And like I said, one thing led to another, and we cracked away at the alignment, which it's not complete. Caster is still not where I want it, because I wanted it needs to be at 7 to 7.5 degrees of caster. And well, let me jack it up here and show y'all what we got going on under this thing. Disclaimer: the shim setup that I have right now is not the final shim setup. I will measure and order real shims instead of leaving these in there. So don't flame me for this. And yeah, I guess it's... So as you all can see, I got it pretty much shoved forward. Now, if you know anything about caster, if you shove it forward, then you're going to have lower caster. But you see how this control arm is made? How it's kind of like a boomerang almost, which I mean all of them are kind of boomerang, but I feel like if you push this one forward, it's going to shove that back. And I'm 100% sure it did that, and the numbers said it did that because it was lower, and then I, did that, and then I also turned this out a little bit, which I don't know if that raised it or not, because I'm kind of fighting that. So I'm going to have to play around with both these and see if I can get them to do what I want them to do, because I ain't going to screw with that anymore. That's about as far as I think it should go. And honestly, dropping these out and getting them back in is pretty simple. And I feel like if I put more in there, then it'd be kind of tougher for some reason. Because the more I put in here, the tougher it got to put these in. But I mean, obviously it's going to get tougher, but it just... the way it works, I guess. But, yeah. So, little update. On the path to getting it finished now, with it being, the bumper being off and making it easier to get on the rack, so I can put this thing on the rack of an evening, crack more away at it, get more things figured out faster. So then after this, all we should need after we get this alignment squared away is the cage, and we should be ready to go drifting. Battery mounts. Yeah, that's another one we need. Battery's just sitting in there right now. With all that said in this video, I changed everything, actually. Because I had my dad take a look at the car. My dad's been wrenching for a long time. Let's put it that way. Over 15 years, I'm pretty sure. And he's seen a lot of alignments, a lot of stuff. He looks at it and says, well, take all them shims out. So I took all the shims out. And he said, instead, adjust off of the heim joints, off the front heim joint. So I did all that. I adjusted the front heim joints out 25 times, 7.5 degrees across the board, perfect, where I wanted everything. Camber still is a little bit iffy. I need to play with camber more. It's fine for the time being, I feel like, but it definitely needs to be tweaked with a little more for reasons and whatnot, but it drifts. It's not perfect, but it goes where I want it to go. When you put inputs in the steering wheel, it does what you want to do. Don't do anything funky or weird. It feels like it hops a little bit, but I don't know what that could be. But then again, I'm in a closed little parking lot drifting, so that could be the reason too. And because there's a little curb out there, you kind of bump up on a little bit. It's not like big, it's less than like an inch, but it just is that little bit. But there's also another issue. It randomly cuts off, but if if y'all seen the engine bay and up under that thing where I got a ground ran, you'd probably understand why it's probably cutting out, and I think I know the reason why it's cutting out, but that's just cleaning up that needs to be done. I got a lot of cleaning up to do. I need to get a bigger fan to put on the radiator to keep it cool. I need to probably put a little switch panel in there instead of having a key, just because I'm going to put a fan in there, and it's going to have to be ran off a switch. You could run off the thermostat, but what's the fun in that? Why not have a cool little switch panel? You know what I mean? So when you turn it on, you feel like you're about to take off. So, I mean, yeah. So I just gotta do some things to it and button everything up and order a cage, which I'm kind of in other expenses right now, so probably have to wait a little bit on that. But I'm shooting for Ford Fest this year, drifting there, since I've finally turned 18, so I can finally do that. So it's a goal. Let's see if we can do it.